I did finally. Finally was able to divvy out some time and watch it. I've watched it through a couple times, and I will say this: the best effort I've seen in the business in a long time. It was extremely well built leading into the match. Everything was done properly in the build-up, and you have to give New Japan Pro Wrestling real credit for this because they didn't rush it. They gave it the proper amount of time to set up. They put the money in to get it done properly and fly Jericho in to get the segments done that they needed to do that. And you see the end result. The end result, to me, my takeaway from what I've seen with Kenny Omega's previous matches is that here's a kid who's an astounding physical specimen, much like most of the other kids in the business today. The difference with this match for Kenny Omega was there were extended periods of heavy selling, not dying. It seemed to me that there was a heavy influence of Jericho on the match. It wasn't just a high spot fest or a let's go out and do all these million spots because we're physically able to do that. There were heavy portions of selling and slow segues into the next portion. Lots of great finishes, but the one thing that really stood out to me in the match that I know came from Jericho was the teasing of both the chair and the table. The chair for 7 or 8 minutes, the table for almost 20 minutes. What I mean by that is, the table was brought out early in the match and set up, and they fight away from it. Same thing with the chair was set up sometime later in the corner. My question is, how in the hell that chair stayed put with all those different spots and running? Because let's face it, when Kenny hits the ropes, he hits him like a lightning bolt, like Dynamite Kid used to. And I kept expecting to see that chair fall out of that corner, and it didn't. So it was fantastic that it didn't because it really played in so much better, perfectly, to the later portions of the match when you've got this chair and this table sitting there for 7-8 minutes in the chair's case, and for almost 20 minutes in the table's case, and yet both of them get used. Flawless usage of that, and I'm sure that had to come from Jericho. Kenny Omega's selling was incredible. The only flaw I had in what he was doing was he kept going to the same moves over and over again, which was one of my criticisms of Brock Lesnar some years ago. But when you listen to the reception by the crowd, that's your real barometer as to whether something's successful or not. And the crowd bought into every false finish. They bought into the segues. Really, really well done. And I credit both of them, because let's face it, Jericho can't go at this stage of his career. He can't go at the same pace that Kenny can. But Kenny, by the same token, doesn't know what Jericho knows and how to fill in those slowdown points where somebody say if Chris's age is getting his breath and getting his wind. But it didn't seem at any point to me like the match was needlessly slow or egregiously filling in time. It was chock full of entertainment, excitement, high impact. The usage early on when Jericho pie-faced the referee and pushed him down and then put his son in the walls of Jericho, I thought was a great heat getter. It was really well done. I thought it was, like I said earlier, a very entertaining match, and by far, the best outing that I have seen in professional wrestling in some time. So kudos to not only the guys. I thought the announcers were great. I thought that at one point Cyrus said in talking about what Jericho had done to Kenny Omega, and I think he had him in the walls of Jericho, he said something like, "This is the end for Omega." And, the referee, Red Shoes, was down on his face, like listening closely, intently, ready to, to hit the mat and ring the bell. it was all done so well that it had an air of shoot to it. And the audience, like I said, that's to me always the final analysis. And you listen to the audience, just close your eyes and go back and watch that match and listen to it. And you can hear the crowd up and down, up and down, up and down, popping at the right places, intently watching at the right places. At no point in that 46-minute match, 43-minute match, whatever it was, did it seem as the audience was out of it or bored or getting ready to, hoping for the go home. They ate up every second of that match. Kudos to New Japan for the way they booked it, to Jericho and Omega for the way they executed it, to the announce team, to the officiating. Really well done. And I could nitpick and find small things in between there, but in the overview, I thought it was a very, very valiant effort by everybody involved.